Hey there, my name is Douglas Nyback. This is DNA, and today we're going to be diving into the question, should you go to theater school? This is a big one. I'm excited to dive into it. Before we do, please click like and subscribe and turn on the notification button if you feel so inclined. In the descriptor of this video, there is a link to a free half-hour class that literally teaches you how to frame your auditions. It's called Framing 101. It teaches you all the technical things that you need to know in order to craft that bookable audition. And without further ado, let's just get into this. Okay, so the two types of training that we're going to be talking about in this video are one, institutionalized training, i.e. theater school. So this is going to a college or university for that purpose. The other is professional training, going to a specialized studio that's geared towards getting you booking work, but it's not a degree-based, you get report cards, GPAs, all that stuff, semester-based program. They are hugely different styles of training, and I'm going to give you a quick little rundown on both before we dive into the actual answers to the questions, should you or should you not go to theater school. Disclaimer, I went to both theater school in New York City, as well as I've done a ton of this professionalized training. And now, let's be real, I teach that professional training. That's what I do. This is not a university, you may be able to tell. So theater school is institutionalized training that involves you having to maintain a GPA, there's testing, there's a right and a wrong way to do things, and it's very comprehensive. I went to theater school because I wanted to learn how to act in a broad sense. Film and television is only about 100 years old. Acting is as old as the species. So I wanted to get that history. I wanted to dive into the great works, the great playwrights, the Greeks, getting into the great American canon, getting into like just everything that I could possibly get my hands on. I wanted to learn it all. I wanted to have that foundation. Theater school teaches you breath, body, voice and speech production, stage combat, accent work, how to break down complex text, all sorts of things. It's a very, 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 very comprehensive avenue of training that I'm very grateful that I went through. And while there is a tremendous amount of meat on the bones, there's also a lot of fat. And when I graduated from theater school, I got into the working world and I found myself kind of lost because so much of what I learned, while useful across the years, was not immediately applicable to booking work. Professional training is just about booking work. What are the things you need to do in order to get past the current hurdle that is keeping you from booking roles professionally? Very different world, and often represented in a bit of a duality. I graduated from theater school and I had a really broad, holistic understanding of performance, but if you put me into this frame, I had no idea what to do, and I was not a bookable actor. The vast majority of the actors that I work with come from this professional training where they know how to book work, but then I look at them from the sternum down, i.e. what's not in this frame, and I'm like, oh, you are not telling the story with 75% of your whole instrument. It's not even engaged. It's a wild difference. And there's pros and cons to both. And the way we're going to get into it is I'm going to break it down into essentially different subcategories. If you are this thing, then I recommend theater school or I recommend professional training. Okay, so the first category is the category that I fell under when I went to theater school. I'm from a small town in a province called Alberta in a country called Canada. And I was very fortunate to have really wonderful musical programs, English teachers, drama teachers, all of these folks that really encouraged, an incredible voice teacher. All these people really encouraged me and showed me that there was a world outside of the small town that I was living in. However, if I wanted to actually become a professional actor, i.e. make my living doing this, I wasn't going to do it in Alberta. It wasn't going to happen. I had to pick a coast and go. I had options. I could have gone to Vancouver, could have gone to Toronto, could have gone to Los Angeles, could have gone to New York, could have gone to London, could have gone to Sydney. There's plenty of places I could have gone to. I chose to go to New York. That was me. In order to actually pursue this as a career, I needed to get out of where I was. This is probably the most common romantic story about actors. actors, the person who leaves their small prairie town and goes to the big city and tries to make it big. There's a reason why it's a cliche. It's because so many people go through it, and I did. That's kind of the first thing that I will say about this. If you are very serious about making a living as a film and television or stage performer, and you are from a small town, you're not going to do it where you are. You have to get out. Sucks? It's true. That being said, there are a bunch of now cities where boatloads of film and TV is being made, and those cities, while not coastal city centers, are building up their acting contingencies. Here in Canada, one of the ones that I think of is Calgary. The actors there are getting better and better because the work is coming more and more often into the town. Same thing with places like Atlanta. So there are other cities, but if you're really looking to like get out, like most of those places are still cast out of coastal cities. So that's a disclaimer. So I had to go to theater school, and that's what I would recommend if you fit into this category. The reality of it is that the area in which you live isn't going to have a professional training studio that's going to be teaching you the things you need to book work. Those studios generally only exist in the coastal meccas. So look into theater schools and start applying. Start auditioning. Work with whatever teachers and coaches you have available to you on your auditions, and go to wherever you need to do those auditions so that you can get out of where you are and you can go live the experience of theater school. For me, going to New York City, like spending my starving artist days there, being able to get $20 rush student tickets to any Broadway show that I wanted, these things were invaluable. I wanted to go to New York because I wanted to be able to immerse myself in that world. So moving to New York changed me and really helped turn me into a person that could exist in a big pond as a small fish. Category 2 is if you are in one of those major city centers where there is a hotbed of film and television and theater, and you want to learn the foundations of acting as a whole, then you're already pretty close to the theater schools. Go to a theater school. Or zero in on professional training and become a voracious researcher of the history of performance and our industry. Nobody in film and television or in stage is ever going to be like, okay, that was an incredible audition, but do you have a doctorate in theater talking words? Because if you don't, you're not going to get this job. Or do you have a master's degree? It's never going to happen. Nobody gives a single shit if you get a bachelor's degree or you get a master's in performance. Nobody cares. If you want to learn, as I did, everything you could about acting, then theater school is the way to go, even if you're from one of those coastal cities. If I were to do it all over again and I were living where I live now, what I would probably have done would be I would pick the studios in the city where I live that have the best reputation in crafting bookable actors. And I would zero in on my training there, and then I would use the internet and I would just become a student of performance. And I would go see as much theater as I could, and I would see as many films as I could, and I would spend the money in a micro-focused way. And then I would do all of the free research that I possibly could. That's kind of the MO of how I expand myself as an actor now. And if you don't want all that headache, because that is there's much more agency in that. You have to self-motivate, which isn't for everybody. Be honest with who you are if you're operating in this microcosm, and go from there. Have conversations with your friends. Be real with yourself, and then pick an avenue of approach. Next category, if you are from a major city center and you are only interested in booking work, then just pursue professional training. A lot of my clients, this is where they find me. They get to a place where they've done all this professional training. They are definitively bookable actors. They are working on set, and then they reach a point of plateau and they're like, I'm not growing past a certain point. I'm doing the work out in the world and I'm not where I want to be. That is ultimately the wall that almost everybody who does that micro-focused professional training, and only that kind of training, reaches, because you're taught how to work. You're not taught who you are holistically as an instrument, as a full human being learning the craft of acting. This is something that theater school does arm you with. If you only pursue professional training studios, you are going to need to invest money and time into voice and speech coaches, into accent and dialect coaches, into movement, that kind of work, getting yourself in your body. You're going to either have to do all that research on your own, or you're going to have to pay others for it. So if you're from a major city center, you have access to those professional training studios, and that's where your focus is. I want to get out there and I want to be working, then dial into that, and then know that you're going to have to do piecemeal training elsewhere. It's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be cheaper than theater school. The next category here that I want to talk about is actors who, as teenagers, trained at professional studios and became bookable actors in like their teen years and were often on shows. And then they got to the age of university and their parents wanted them to take a college course, or their parents were like, non-negotiably, you have to go to university. It was really surprising to me as a coach, because I had a lot of actors who I'm like, you're a lead on a show. You've been on a show for years. Why are you coming to me and asking if you need to go to theater school? Like, no, man, you're super good at it. Like, you're objectively very good. You have like an IMDb list that's longer than most adults. And then I'm like, oh, it's because your parents have university in their brain. And that's a very real situation that it's very possible that like thousands of you watching this video are in that place. Theater school in its essence functions like the military. You could be an Olympian. You go to the military and the military is going to be like, everything you do is wrong and you're a and the only way that you can get better is if you do exactly what we say. Theater schools function the exact same way. And it was extremely useful to me because I was coming from nothing, and then I was like, this is a very clear framework of how I need to succeed. The problem is that actors who already have successful careers, or even like you've just booked some principal roles here and there, like you're on set, you're in the process of your career, you get to a theater school and they have to tell you that everything you're doing is wrong. And the only way to do it right is the way that they are teaching it, because they have to grade you. There have to be metrics. There has to be a reason for you to keep paying them money. If you're already at a professional caliber, do not go to theater school, because one, they're going to fuck you up, because they're going to be taking things that work and telling you that they don't, so that you can do it the way that they do it. And that's going to just mess with your whole instrument. If you're in a situation where you need to go to university because of outside pressures in your world, then look at professional programs that are about film and television production or stage production. Things that will teach you the holistic understanding of the industry, of how to make films, how to make these projects, how financing works, how the whole sausage gets made. These programs are fantastic for actors to take, because one of the easiest places for actors to become insecure is that they get to set and they have no idea what the massive machine that is production is. So these programs, this is what has ended up happening for the vast majority of my teenage clients who became adults. They came and they asked, should I go to theater school? And I was like, honey bunches of nope. And they ended up going to programs that were about film and television production, and they emerged with a really fascinating, comprehensive understanding of how films are made. And they were already professional actors who kept their professional training going while they were in university. So they emerged miles ahead of any other actor that was coming out of theater school. But in that situation, avoid theater school at all costs, because it's going to take everything that is unique about you and it's going to have to crush it by its very nature so that you become what they need you to be in order to pass through their system. You're going to emerge on the other side, probably pretty messed up. And that's not the best way to keep going with a career that's already moving. Also, like if you're already booking work and you have to stop auditioning, it's a momentum killer. There's no reason to do it. Regardless of where you're coming from, dial into your goals. Do I want to learn how to act in a really holistic sense? And if that's the case, then theater school is likely the best starting point. Do I want to work and learn how to book work? And then am I self-motivated enough to do all of the research that will give me that broader understanding of acting? Then professional training is the way for you to go. Finally, am I from a small town? Is the only way to get access to professional training, going to one of the major coastal cities where this industry really exists, then probably theater school is going to be the easiest avenue for you to get there. Not going to say it's going to be easy, but easiest. I hope that this helps alleviate some of those concerns that you may have. This was a big choice that I made in my life. It's a little terrifying, and I made the right choice for me, and I wouldn't have the career that I have unless I had made it. So if you have questions, comments, confusions, complaints, if you need further clarification, please let me know in the comments or reach out to me directly via my Instagram. You can DM me, all that stuff, Nyback Act on Instagram. I have also created a bunch of online courses that teach you all the foundations of how to craft a bookable on-camera audition. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you on the next one. Go be people.